My name's Aaron, welcome back to my channel. How are you? I'm fantastic and I'm doing really well. Today I'm viewing Versace.
Oh yeah, Versace. I love Versace.
Me too.
Eros. I never know whether to say Versace or Versace. It's an eau de parfum. The cost is £65 for 50ml and £85 for 100ml. Top notes are mint, candy apple, lemon, mandarin orange, ambroxan, geranium, clary sage, vanilla, leather, sandalwood, bitter orange, cedar and patchouli. Me always like shrink wrapping, it makes it feel like no one else has tampered with it. I don't know if you feel like that. Again, incredibly compliant, so this fragrance complies with all its legal paperwork and is safe for you to use. The notes I find quite interesting. We've got mint and candy apple, so I'm expecting something sweet, expansive, and lots of acetates. Do we have our fragrance bottles? Are we engaged with our higher self? Let's get testing. This initially is sitting quite flat to the skin, and I imagine as this dries down it would expand more, which means that this is musk heavy. It's really nice. The apple is really apparent, with just acetates combined with ethyl maltol whipping through the base. I really like this. It's very nice. Very sweet. So the demographic for this is, I'd say, 18 to 25, and I've said before in previous videos that I've noticed young lads with about 50-60 pounds want to smell fresh and sweet. The Kumarin's been really well done. This is really excellently well done. This is industrial perfumery at its finest. This is taking the commercial DNA and putting a new twist on it, which I really enjoy actually. I enjoy things when they're sort of the same but different. This is linalool acetates to give that fresh bergamot feel, backed against Hedione, Icy Super, lovely linen-like musks, and ambroxan. The vanilla is really apparent actually, it's very nice. That's why I initially dried quite flat, because this is a vanillin heavy fragrance. Vanillin is a powder at room temperature, and if you use too much of it, it changes the viscosity of the fragrance, because that's like, if you think of it like adding flour to water, you get to have more of a thick mixture, so that helps to bind to the skin and flatten off a formulation, which is why initially I said it smelt quite close and then I expected it to start expanding out, which is what's happening. The clary sage note gives a lovely green feel. It's really nice. The mintiness is fresh, clean, and interestingly this has a cooling effect on the skin, so they're using menthol crystals in this to help extend the mintiness through the formulation. It smells just so good, so youthful, so fresh, so sweet. Now this is almost how I wanted the original 1 million to smell. The original 1 million was so sweet, and to me the original one smelled like a chemical mess. It just smelled so much of chemicals, and this is how to do aroma chemicals properly. This is going to be monstrously long lasting, monstrously projecting as you heat up. This will last and last and last. A heavy duty workhorse of a fragrance. The lemon in it as the essential oil is very nice and helps give that expansiveness. On to my final thoughts. I really like this actually. I think it's really excellent, and I'm going to explain why. I like fragrances very much that are priced really well, long lasting, easy to wear, and a little bit interesting. And I think this is a really good intersection of fresh, sweet, slightly woody. And the woodiness is with wood aroma chemicals. It's just really cleverly well put together. This smells very up to date actually. They're using where perfumery is going. This is like dead on trend. I'd expect this to smell this everywhere actually. I think it's sort of updating all those fresh ambroxan monsters in a really nice way actually. The sweetness is perfectly placed, dryness is perfectly placed, the metallic notes are perfectly placed, the ambroxan is perfectly placed. So I'll go through my marks with you. Technically this is brilliant, excellent, And this shows that you can build a long-lasting, projecting, interesting fragrance for a sensible amount of money. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 4 because I think it's excellent, and most importantly, this absolutely complies with all its regulatory paperwork and is really safe for you to use. If you've got this, you'll know what I mean. There is a real softness at the core too. So you've all that freshness and sweetness. Right at the middle, you have a smooth, velvety feel to it. It's just smooth, and that is from the Lily of the Valley raw materials, all those sort of raw materials. And there's one which I really like, which is one of the sweetest, softest Lily of the Valley raw materials, and that is in this. And that's why I'm really responding to this, actually, because under all the cacao is some notes that I really personally really love. As I've said to you before, as a perfumer, I actually really enjoy single raw materials. I wouldn't ever apply them, but I sort of reach for those trusted raw materials that I really like, and they're in this, which is why I'm really responding to it. If that makes sense to you. Now I'm going to mark this a 9 out of 10. And the points that come off are because I would love to see this projecting half a foot further. But if you did that, you would remove the longevity. So I think this is excellent for the price. I think it's really phenomenal. This is just going to be monstrous on the skin. I think it's excellent. And also I would love to see a few more naturals in as well, but then it wouldn't be for the price that it is. I thoroughly recommend this if you are, say if this is your second fragrance after your first one, if that makes sense. So I think when you're 16 to 20, you start off with your first fragrance, which is whatever. This would make a really nice transition onto something a little bit more interesting, because it's got some interesting raw materials to it, and it doesn't smell like all those freshies and all that projecting stuff. This smells fresh, but with some nuances, some interesting nuances, and this would help to develop your nose into going into the third section is when you start to really crave naturals and something different and unique and something really different. So this, I would say, is really good from 21 plus. Because it has some interesting facets to it. It's not just it's a linear fragrance, it's sort of starting to develop into something interesting. It's also very long lasting, which is phenomenal. Which shows it can be done. But as I said, I would love to have the projection a little bit more, and you would get that through adding in a few more naturals to it, actually. As it's drying down, I'm getting mandarin, and I'm getting mandarin and bubblegum, which I think is quite delightful, actually. So I'm going to summarise this for you. This is apple, mandarin, bubblegum, vanilla, drying down to cleanness, freshness, and a few wood compounds to help to balance this and undoubtedly sort of make it smell fresh, youthful, invigorating. This would make a fantastic sort of going out and having fun fragrance. It just smells incredibly fun, fresh, inviting. It smells very friendly. Doesn't smell like it's gonna, you know, be aggressive and metallic. It's just sort of a really quite cool fragrance, actually. Very nice. So I hope you loved that review. Thumbs up and subscribe for more fascinating, interesting content. Lots of moving hands and lots of fragrance reviews. I hope you're staying safe and well, and I'll see you soon.